Some of the adult actors were rounded out first as the process began to find the perfect child cast. Richard Linklater insisted that Mike White still audition for the role of Ned, along with several other actors. Tina Fey was among those to audition for Patty, but wasn't selected, in part due to her rigorous SNL schedule. The role was ultimately given to SNL alumni
Sarah Silverman, Sarah.
Who after reading the script just wanted to be involved in any way possible. Adam Pascal was cast after Richard Linklater had people audition with Heal Me I'm Heartsick, and his rendition made him think that the song could actually be good enough to win.
I grew up playing in rock bands in New York City and Long Island. The longer hair in the band room was a wig. As a matter of fact, it was like an old, because you get all these wigs get recycled from other projects. Yeah. Apparently, it was a wig that Nicole Kidman had worn in something. Like it was like an old Nicole Kidman wig.
I remember casting him. He came in with "Heal Me I'm Heartsick," the last song in the movie. Yeah, we had a Craig Wedren who wrote that song. He had that and. We just gave it to guys to take home and come in and perform, and he spent the weekend on it and came in and just nailed it.
Yeah, he did.
Deep, heartfelt. I was like, oh man, this song actually could be great.
Well, I was sort of in the business of writing joke songs that you couldn't quite tell were jokes unless you listened to them a few times. And so it was really important to me that the songs be strong enough, and Heal Me I'm Heartsick in particular, actually be something that as a listener you might think, oh, I know this song. I've heard this song, right? This is a real song. This is like a song off the radio. Or, oh my God, this is a great song. I got to find this song. Like, why haven't I heard it before? But then the more you listen, you're like, wait a minute. What the hell is he saying? I mean, most or so many rock lyrics, especially when you get into power ballad land, are so borderline, I mean, not intentionally jokey, but they may as well be like SNL sketches. And so it's just kind of taking that literally. And so that's the long answer to your question, which is I'm thrilled when people are genuinely into or moved by or inspired by Heal Me I'm Heartsick or any number of other joke songs I've had the honor to be involved in.
Over 10,000 kids were seen across the country in the search for a band. In Chicago, New York, LA, Minneapolis, San Francisco, Seattle, and more, they held auditions. Leading the charge was casting director Eileen Starger, who notably cast Lindsay Lohan in her debut film, The Parent Trap.
In the script that I read, the children were much younger. This is why the film is so good. Everybody involved felt very strongly that everyone had to sing and play, and it could not be dubbed or faked or, recorded and then they lip sync. I was brought onto the film very early, much earlier than I normally would, because everybody knew that to find these kids was not going to be, maybe 3 or 4, but 7 months. And I saw very quickly the younger kids, the kids who were, let's say, 9. A lot of them, their voices were very sort of high and childlike, understandably, because they're little. But also the finger movement. It was very hard at that age to find true virtuosos of the instruments.
Yeah.
And I noticed that when some older kids came in, there was a huge difference, between even 9 and 11, because kids grow at such a rapid pace.
Right.
So that was so joyful because I love children. I love talking to children. I feel very strongly that children have worlds inside them, that they have a wisdom and they absorb everything. And the utter sort of lack of fear and self-consciousness with which these kids they would come in with their instrument and they would just plant themselves in the middle of my little, at the time, taping room, audition room. It was hysterical. I mean, they would play and sing everything from Alicia Keys songs to Britney Spears songs to songs from Fiddler on the Roof to songs of Stephen Sondheim, to see these little kids singing Stephen Sondheim. I loved it. They had to come in with, and I would read a scene with them, and then they would either sing or play. We were searching in several cities, having kids either put themselves on tape or having casting people put some kids on tape in Chicago and Toronto, and I went to California and saw people there and in New York. I mean, thousands. And then we had an open call at one point where we found Mariam. It was amazing. Robert, the pianist, he was a prodigy concert pianist. I mean, he actually did a concert at Carnegie Hall. Someone who practiced piano 6 hours a day. Some of the kids had acted before in TV, but a lot of them had never acted, in their life. Again, I'm not minimizing the hard work because it was not easy, but there were some days where I thought, I'm getting paid to meet these incredible kids and listen to them play.
For this project, prior acting experience wasn't as necessary. Eileen Starger said they wanted the film to have a freshness. 10-year-old Rivka Reyes and 11-year-old Robert Tsai were both invited to audition after being heard playing classical music on NPR's show From the Top.
Joining me now is one of the youngest performers we've ever had on our show. Please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, our 9-year-old guitarist from Chicago, Illinois. How are you?
Good.
Feeling pretty good? Now, you've got a couple of pieces to play for us. I'd like you to tell the audience the name of them, and you also have a couple of things that these pieces remind you of. Why don't you tell them that, too?
Okay. Well, the first song I'm going to play, Packington's Pound, by Thomas Anonymous.
That's right. He wrote a lot of good stuff.
Name that I like to call.
Yeah. It's beautiful stuff. It's just beautifully played, and you get such a beautiful sound. How long have you been playing the guitar?
Well, I've been playing since I was 4.
Oh, so you've been playing for a while. Gosh, 4 years old. You just sound so great. 9 years old, I can't get over it. It's just wonderful. And you have sort of your own special way of learning music. I know you read music very, very well, but tell us about how you learn a piece.
Well, first I listened to the recording on the CD, and then I learn it by ear.
Oh, you do a lot by ear, huh?
Play what I hear, and then my teacher corrects me, my mistakes.
That's good. What sorts of things do you clean up after you've learned the piece?
Buzzies and thuddies and thwaps. Well,
What
2
happened?
years in a row, I won the spelling bee.
Yeah.
And then this year, I totally screwed up. I got really nervous, and
Yeah.
I spelled one of my favorite words wrong, which is potatoes.
Now, you play a little rock and roll too, don't you? Mm-hmm. Does your dad played you some records, I guess? What kinds of things do you like to do?
I like to play behind my back.
Like
Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
Jimi Hendrix.
You want to do a little of that for us?
Sure.
Okay. The guitar is going behind the head, ladies and gentlemen. She's pouring the lighter fluid on the guitar. I'm having an acid flashback. Our final performer today is our youngest. Please welcome 11-year-old pianist Robert Tsai from Millington, New Jersey. Robert, welcome. The stage is yours. What have you brought for us?
I'll be playing the 6 Romanian dances by Bela Bartok. On Saturdays, I have Chinese school, and the facility is actually a high school, and it's a lot of fun. There's 2 classes. There's a cultural class and a language class.
Mm-hmm. Which language are you studying? There's so many in China.
I study the Mandarin.
Oh, Mandarin's very mellifluous and melodic and melodious and Mandarin-esque, I guess. Gorgeous language. And what else do you study there?
And there's a cultural class, and I study Chinese painting.
What's the first thing you drew in painting class?
The first thing we drew were bamboo.
Very nice, simple objects. And then you graduate to what from there?
We graduate to mountains, birds, houses, almost a lot, all of the things in Chinese painting we learned.
And of course, the master Chinese painters always graduate to portraits of lemurs, right? Is that the...
I've never seen a lemur painting.
Oh. Well, you haven't lived. When did you start composing?
I composed when I was 7.
What led you to composing? What inspired you?
The first piece I wrote was called Carriage, and I was riding the bus, and I thought the bus had a bumpy noise to it, so I thought of a carriage.
And so the rhythm of the bumping of the bus was what started that piece of music. And have you written a lot since then?
Yeah.
What sorts of things? Short pieces, long pieces?
I've written mostly short pieces, like waltzes and shorter, maybe story pieces. I don't know that describe something. But I have also written longer pieces.
You have a fondness for Chinese proverbs.
Yes, I do.
Can you give us a Chinese proverb in Mandarin first? I'd love to hear you speak Mandarin.
Okay. 宁为鸡口，不为牛后.
Very nice.
Okay.
So what does that mean?
That means literally, you don't want to be in the front of the back of the cow, but you want to be in front of the chicken.
Robert, I'm kind of scared to ask. What does that mean?
When you translate it a little loosely, it means that in different groups of maybe, I don't know which group, but you would want to be in maybe the leader of the smaller group, but not a member of the larger group. So so you get more attention.
Right. So if you were in a class photograph, you'd want to be in front of the chicken and not behind the cow. That's right. Because I was worried about, other reasons not to be behind a cow. So, Robert, I'm very excited at the prospect of hearing one of your own pieces. What are you going to play to take us out?
I'll be playing my Sonata in A.
Okay, great.
Rivka read lines for both Summer and Yuki as they played Here Comes the Sun on guitar. After a month of not hearing anything, they were invited back, but was asked to rock out this time. They put their hair up and played Lenny Kravitz's American Woman. No doubt, having these two classical players helped ground the band in the movie's reality.
I played Here Comes the Sun, and then I left. And then I didn't get called for like a month. And I figured, hey, I'm not an actor, you know? Why would I get something like this? So then a month later, I get called from the same casting company. We would like to see you, and we would like to see you rock out. I freaked out because I had never done that before, because most of the music I'd played had been classical. So I went to my guitar teacher and I learned Purple Haze, and I rocked out some Lenny Kravitz.
Joey Gatos Jr. from Belleville, Michigan, started playing guitar when he was just 3.
He was playing, he wanted to play guitar before he could hold a guitar. And he is a fantastic, much better all-around musician than I ever was. He keyboards and drums, and he can, play all these instruments that I couldn't. And then he plays guitar like a son of a bitch,
At 11, he went to Day Jam, the largest music camp in the country, and made a music video with his friends. This was seen by a representative of the movie who invited Joey and his family to come to Chicago to audition.
I'm a guitar player from Belleville, Michigan, and got this part through a music camp. I got something online, and I went for an audition then in Chicago. Then I did that. Then I got a call back in New York to meet Richard Linklater, the director. Then I got a call back in LA to meet Jack Black.
In Chicago, Kevin Clark had just heard about the auditions as well.
He would bang on anything. He would literally bang on anything anytime he could. He had great rhythm. And started with pots and pans, then one of the little toddler sets, and kind of kept going. He didn't join a band or take lessons until he was in 4th grade. So he just and he didn't have an actual drum set until after he started taking lessons. So so really it was junior high, 5th, 6th grade bands that he started with. And he's always had great sense of rhythm anyway.
When I was about 2 or something, I've actually been drumming my whole life, because my mom went to a garage sale and she found this old broken drum kit, and she said, this would be fun, give it to the kid, let him get some energy out. So she brought it home, and I would always be banging on it and hitting it and stuff.
We were the last two to audition in Chicago that day.
Yeah. I went in there, I said some lines, I played on a little electric drum set, then I left, and my mom decided to talk, as she does for a long time. God love her. Because Joey went in about 20 minutes after my audition and did the same thing, did his lines, blew him away on guitar. And then they came out, they're like, hey, you want to come in and...
Let's get you two to play together.
Yeah, that's right. We played Day Tripper and Iron Man.
I'm 4 years younger than Kevin, so first memories of School of Rock was doing the auditions and all that. And it was we were this is not going to happen. This isn't a thing. This is not real. And then all of a sudden it became a real thing. And that was the first memory. I was in 4th grade, I think, when it first started, when they started everything. So I was young, but all of a sudden he was whipped away to New York to film this movie for a while. And it was okay, cool. You're really going to be a superstar. And then it just turned into this whole thing. And it was awesome. It was a really awesome experience. And he grew from it. It was awesome. It was cool.
I had a girlfriend whose daughter was a keyboard player, and she saw a little blurb about an audition to be in a movie with Jack Black, looking for, I think it said 9 to 11-year-olds or something like that, or 9 to 12-year-olds. He was not an actor in any which way. Told him about it, knew about Jack Black from his older brother, Kerry, who was a big Jack Black fan, and he'd seen some of his movies and stuff. So he's like, oh, hell yes, I want to do it. And so we went down for the audition with this other girl, and it was Claire Simon was the casting director for it. And we walk into this room, packed with people, and they're just basically going in and out. Kevin came out of his audition, and Claire came out with him and said, who's Kevin's mom? And started asking me some questions and how long he'd been, drumming and this and that, and what his schedule was like. Then I told her, and she goes, okay, thank you. goes back in and we were still sitting there because the girl that we had come with hadn't gone in yet. So about, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes later, and again, in and out, no kind of talking to parents or anything, Joey Gatos goes in. He had come in from Michigan. And sure enough, his mom comes out, same thing. They come out and ask Joey, and she turns around and sees Kevin is still there. And she says, "Oh my God, can you two come in together?" So they just jammed together. They played together and came back out, and they said thank you, and that was about it. And our friend eventually went in, and she never heard anything back. We didn't hear anything back for like 6 weeks. So I'm like, it was great experience. I don't think anything's going to happen with this. And then we got a call just saying they want to meet you in New York. So the head casting director, Eileen Starger, had made arrangements for, she didn't. She wanted us to come on our own dime. And actually, and Joe, and I think they called us back and said, Joey's driving in with his mom. Maybe you guys could go together, this or that. And I've had a little experience in the entertainment world, not a lot. But I'm like, that doesn't quite sound right. And we wound up calling around to some friends and finding an agent, which, of course, we didn't have at the time. And she took us on right away. And next thing I know, our flight and hotel and everything was paid for. Wow. And we went to New York. And we went to New York with Joey. So they auditioned and said thank you, and we came back home. And again, another 6-7 weeks went by, maybe even longer, like the beginning of November. We had originally gone in September. And same thing, it was a great experience. Obviously, we haven't heard anything. And we were driving home, picked him up from school, was picking up pizza. Went in to get the pizza, came back out, and he goes, "Mom, you want to go to New York?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "Do you want to go to New York?" And I said, "Honey, again, we haven't heard from him. It's not a big deal." Picks up my phone and he goes, "Look at the phone number." And while I was in getting pizza, they had called and offered him the job. So that's how that all worked out. And it was all, just luck. And my understanding was there was over 5,000 kids who had auditioned for his role. And he got it. And later when we first got on set, when we first met Rick Linklater, he had said and I think to Joey and Marge as well, he said, it wasn't until I saw the tape of the two of you auditioning together that I knew I had a movie. So it was pretty special. Definitely. Yeah.
Brian Faldudo sang a boy soprano version of Send in the Clowns from A Little Night Music. He had to audition 9 times all in all, singing each time. They loved what he brought into the room so much that they wrote a whole new role for him.
So let's paint the story a little for you. So I'm 10 years old, 11 years old, and at the time I'm a boy soprano, with as much sass as you all know I had in the film. And so I strut into this audition room, and sitting in the audition room we have Eileen Starger, award-winning casting director, Rogier Linklater, director of Boyhood and Dazed and Confused, and Scott Rudin, one of the biggest producers in the United States. Sorry, I dropped all these names on the floor. Let me just pick those up. But anyway, so I walked in this room, and those people didn't mean nothing to me, because, I was top of my... I was going to say a bad word there, and I'm not going to, because there's kids in the room. But anyway, I was top of my game, walk in this room. This is only my second professional audition ever, so I had as much attitude as could have been knocked out of me. And this was the song I chose to sing as a boy soprano. Let's just keep that in mind, okay? Isn't it rich? Are we up there? Me here at last on the ground, you and me there. But where are the clouds? Now mind you, when I was singing this whole thing, it was at the octaves, it was like, ah! But that's not going to happen today, so we're just going to move on in this octave. But I will try and throw in some of the sass that I had back then. Let's see if I still have it. Let's send in the clouds. And just when I stopped opening doors, finally knowing the one that I wanted was yours, making my entrance again with my usual flair, sure of my lines, no one is there. Don't you love her? My boss, I fear. I thought that you'd want what I want. Sorry, my dear. But where are the clowns? There ought to be clowns. Don't bother, they're here.
He was talented and unique, but most importantly, Brian Falduta was authentic. Both Jordan Claire Green
All us kids are a chimp. So they close the club. Forever. Some bodyguard you are. They almost got me.
Yeah? Well, you can have your money back.
And what about my daddy?
Don't worry. My friends are looking for him right now.
I hope they do a better job than you.
and Veronica Afflerbach auditioned for the role of Summer. Both also sang Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, albeit Veronica while playing guitar and Jordan Claire while playing piano. Angela Masagli and Kaylin Hale also auditioned back-to-back, setting in motion what would eventually become a beautiful love story as he watched her audition with the show tune.
I remember my first audition for School of Rock like it was yesterday. I get in there, the little blonde girl next to me, she gets called in first, and she starts singing show tunes and just blows the roof off the place. It was excellent. And lo and behold, it was actually Caitlin. So one of my earliest memories of School of Rock was
we had the same audition. We were scheduled at the same time during the audition, which is, I mean, they auditioned thousands of kids across the country, and that was just one of those like serendipitous moments.
They both had impressive resumes already. She had played the lead in Annie at Sacred Heart University, sung at the State Republican Convention, and voiced Orange Kitten in Blue's Clues.
Magenta? Is that you? Wow, Magenta, did you get glasses? Do they feel funny? Are you going to wear them all the time?
He had started with a Ziploc commercial.
So what goes in Color Lock today comes out Ziploc fresh tomorrow.
Then got roles on Cosby.
Hey, Griffin!
Hey, Angelo. Hey, Niles. Goodbye. See you later.
Hey, Griffin. I went in a plane once. There's nothing to be afraid of.
Thanks, Angelo.
Can I have your watch? Just in case you don't come back?
No.
What a wuss!
The Sopranos. And Stuart Little, too.
Yeah, but we have George, so it'll be like having 9.
Wallace, we'll have none of that.
Angelo says he was asked to sing, so he belted out Crazy Train by Ozzy Osbourne, which was the only song he knew the words to. Caitlin says that the first time she had to sing a complete song, she sang Everything's Coming Up Roses from the musical Gypsy.
Everything's coming up roses.
And the second audition, she sang The Greatest Love of All by Whitney Houston.
Remind us how we used to be.
And Respect by Aretha Franklin. Alicia Allen began modeling when she was 4, before joining the cast of Blue's Clues at the age of 6 as the voice of Side Table Drawer.
Hi, Steve. Did Magenta get glasses yet?
No, not yet, but
She's going to the eye doctor's really soon.
Oh, I see. Here's your notebook, Steve.
As well as getting into ballet, she took a role in the movie The Best Man on a Sesame Street special and the show Out of the Box.
From the floor up to the ceiling, all the colors are revealing. Patterns make the world go around.
Miranda Cosgrove was 3 years old, singing and dancing around a table for her parents at a restaurant when a talent agent approached her mom. She started auditioning for commercials, disliking the process. She quit for a few years, but then restarted with just as much nervousness about auditioning, but more enjoyment at the prospects of actually acting. She had already filmed a pilot for Nickelodeon's Drake and Josh.
Okay, Megan, we're going out. You be sweet, all right?
Yes, Mommy.
Hey, Megan, don't let Josh and Drake give you a hard time. You know how boys can be.
I'll be okay.
That's my little princess. Good night.
When she auditioned for School of Rock by singing Hey Look Me Over from the musical Wildcat. The 2 times Richard Linklater said he knew this movie was going to work was from watching Joey and Kevin's audition tape rocking together and watching the confidence exude from 9-year-old Miranda Cosgrove.
Miranda, Summer.
First, I'd like to just say, welcome to horoscope.
Thank you. I knew this film was going to work when I saw a video. I was sitting there in my place in Austin going through videos, and I came across this little pixie.
Yeah.
Littler than the others. Miranda's the youngest cast member. She's only 9.
Wow.
Most of the kids are 10 or 11, but she had this kind of verbal quality and this kind of sureness about herself.
Yeah.
Cute, but serious and kind of against type. I think it was written for like a blonde hair, snooty kind of girl.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, well, Miranda's kind of not that, but is that, in her own. She's her own version of it.
Yeah.
Like we've seen that person before, the know-it-all, but you got to like her, ultimately.
She's got that great, super confident quality, yeah. How did you get the part of Summer in the movie School of Rock?
Well, actually, of course, my agent called.
Yeah.
And they gave me the audition.
Yeah.
And I went down, and then we weren't even really thinking about it, and then suddenly we got the phone call.
Doesn't it suck when you don't get the part?
Yeah. It's not as fun, of course.
I've definitely not gotten the part way more times than I've gotten the part.
Me too.
Like someone told me, if you get 1 out of like 20 auditions, you're actually doing really good. So that means 19 times you're going to be like, you're not good enough.
And then 1.
And then one time you're good enough.
It kind of makes everything not
It does.
as big a deal.
It makes it up for it. It's that good, yeah.
Bringing his impressive acting experience to the table was Cole Hawkins.
You mean we're not in a band?
He auditioned by playing the recorder he'd learned in public school.
What's your name?
Lawrence.
Are you hungry, Lawrence?
Yes.
Rum.
What's wrong?
You don't know what rum is.
Maple steel skin? Why don't you do swords on him?
You think it should?
Yeah! I'm a time Captain my Jimmy, water top. All right, putty tank. Can I do it again?
Stay here.
Z Infante's natural talent showed in their audition, garnering them their integral role as a roadie, despite the vast pool of competition. At one point, Dylan and Cole Sprouse auditioned.
Cole and I both go in to the School of Rock audition, and I must have been having a bad day because the audition just said, please prepare a song. And so we walked in. I actually walked in first before Cole, and they said, hi, what did you prepare today? Can you sing? And I looked at them and I was like, no. And they're like, what do you mean, no? It's just like, I didn't prepare anything. I don't really feel like singing. And they're like, well, the audition is to sing. Can you sing Happy Birthday? And I said, nope, can't sing Happy Birthday. And they said, okay, thank you. And I turned right around and I walked out. I don't know why, I must have been having a really shit day. But then Cole went in and sang rap, which was brightened my day up infinitely after that. He got a call back, suffice to say, I did not.
The singer JoJo is allegedly in talks to play a role, but that ultimately fell through. Richard Linklater says he met with over 500 kids in person and watched countless taped auditions. Everybody in the movie auditioned, except for one person who everyone knew would be perfect from day one. Another SNL alum, Joan Cusack.
Is that what my pain is to you? One big cliche? Don't you understand what I'm going through here? I can't sustain a meaningful relationship. I can't hold down a job. I am paralyzed with anxiety and fear most of the time. No one understands what I'm going through. It's like my life is a whirlpool of despair.
The last person to be cast in the movie's official casting was Mariam Hassan.
Miriam.
Yeah.
Tamika.
You found her.
She was the last one cast in this whole movie.
You found
kind of
her
an open call.
At the last second.
Kind of last second.
Right in the nick of time.
Right the week before we started rehearsals.
What a find.
Well, we needed, it was kind of particular. A great voice, obviously, and a girl who's kind of large.
Yeah.
It's hard to advertise for that.
Right. How do you advertise that?
Very subtly.
Right.
But it worked. She came in and kind of blew us away.
She's great.
Miriam's brother went to a camp that held family talent shows, where she had performed from the age of 4. 5 years later, Richard Linklater was subtly advertising the requirements of the Laurie role. Though Miriam was only pursuing music, not acting, when a family friend from camp saw a poster in a New York City bar, they immediately called Miriam's family to let them know about the opportunity. Specifically, the movie needed someone who had the range to sing Aretha Franklin and Patti LaBelle. Check and check to Miriam, who was 9 years old and down for anything. She told Vulture there must have been 2,000 other kids auditioning that day, but the producers told her they loved her singing And I Am Telling You I'm Not Going from Dreamgirls, and called her later that day for a callback. By the next week, she had the role, which is good, because a week after that, the School of Rock officially began rehearsals.
I actually, in my bio, when I do shows, I claim that I'm a member of the lead singer and banjo player for a band called, it's an insane name, 20 Mule Team Wiener Train. We only played like 2 gigs and 2 jobs, and but I lie and say that it still exists.
Calm me down, but I won't have it. Then we go down the rabbit hole. Then we go down the rabbit hole. Why do I have to suffer like this every day? I know that it's all in my head, yeah. Taking deep breaths to slow things down, but it don't work. I tried, but here